Hi guys, today I'll be taking a look at a tactile switch, the Akko POM Brown. Let's get started. But firstly, a disclaimer, these switches were sent to me by Akko. I wasn't paid to make this review and I will remain as impartial as I can as per usual. In the meantime, I hope you enjoy this unboxing. Now, Akko has a new switch lineup, the POM switches, and as the name suggests, they are a fully POM switch. Also, POM stands for polyoxymethylene, a very stiff, low-friction plastic. Now, Akko has released 3 POM switches, 2 of which are linear and 1 tactile. These tactile ones in particular are designed to compete with switches like the Cherry MX Brown and many of its clones. Now, pricing wise, these are about €16 for 45 switches on Akko's website, which places these at the budget end of the price bracket. And this is what they look like when disassembled. Feel free to pause the video. Now, let's move on to the switch categories. On-center key presses are ultra smooth, smoother than the 2 previous POM switches. Off-center key presses are very smooth with only some levels of noticeable scratchiness. It's still less than the other 2 POM switches despite the fact that they're made of the exact same materials. Weird. Overall, these compete on the upper echelon for smoothness. They're very smooth and I'm impressed. 8 out of 10. Now, according to Akko, these switches have a peak tactile force of 50 grams at 1mm, an actuation point of 1.9mm, and a bottom-out force of 40 grams at 4mm. Or in other words, it's basically the same as the Cherry MX Brown, as you can see with this force curve. But does it actually feel like the MX Brown? And the answer is yes, in the weighting department that is, but no for everything else. And yes, that means it has the exact same very light weighting and the same almost non-existent tactile bump, just like the MX Brown, and yes, I don't like that. Overall, if you're looking for an alternative MX Brown switch, this is a solid choice, but it's clearly not for me. 4 out of 10. Now, sound is similar to the POM Pink, they're clacky, but these are a touch bit louder for some reason. Also, the only downside I could find is a faint pinging sound from my C key, but that's just me being very nitpicky. Overall, they're good sounding, I like them. 7 out of 10. Now, take a listen and enjoy. Now, hopefully I've made it clear that this is an MX Brown alternative. However, this also means that it doesn't perform well in typing, as the tactile bump is very light and not really all that reliable. But I will give it this, it's much smoother and more consistent than any MX Brown I've typed on, and I've typed on a lot of MX Brown keyboards now. These have beaten all of those easily. Overall, with that said, they're still not for me, but I'd like to see an MX Clay alternative at some point. 5 out of 10. Now, it does fare a little better in gaming as smoothness and consistency reign supreme over tactility, if you can call these tactiles at this stage. Now, for both fast and slow-paced games, it wasn't reliable to rely on its tactility, which was disappointing, especially for a tactile switch. So yes, it's basically a linear switch at that point. Overall, these are basically linear switches for gaming with only hints of tactility, just like the MX Brown, but smoother and more consistent. 6 out of 10. In conclusion, if you're new to the hobby and are looking for a replacement or an alternative to the Cherry MX Brown or its clones, this is a solid choice, but I know that it's not for me. The final score for this switch is 30 out of 50 or 60%, better than most brown switches but nowhere near the top. And that's the end of the review. Next time, if there are no issues, I'll be looking at more Akko switches. Yep, I'm not done yet. Until then, take care and goodbye.